Right, thanks for that. And let's start with introductions first. We have 15 people here. Some of you might know me, of you might not seen me before, but it's okay. But let me just start a quick introduction of myself. So my name is Suwan Bonma, my full name. So I hold a degree in engineering. I've been with IEN consultant for over 8 years now. I'm a certified trainer by HRD Corp. I'm a first USGBC faculty member in Southeast Asia. Yes, a lot of people ask me what is faculty member. So faculty member by USGBC is a credential that you are actually licensed to teach USGBC material, and you are licensed to even give CE hours to whoever that attend your training, which means these sessions you will entitle 1 hour of CE. I will send you the information later on. If you are a lead AP, you are a USGBC, or if you have other credentials that you need that CE, I will email you that CE. So I'm a lead AP as well, and I'm also a GBIF facilitator. So I have over 10 years of experience. Some of my projects over there, you can just read yourself. But most importantly today is about existing building. And I will go into the reason why existing building are one of the untapped potential in today's market. Doesn't matter you are in which part of the world, existing building is one of the, I would say, a big chunk of where we as a building professional can come in and play a very important role in helping to fight this problem that I believe we all are concerning about, the climate change. So enough about me. So let's get to know more about you. So you can go to slido.com. You can use your phone, or you can open up another DAX, another chat. Just go to slido.com, key in this code 2697752. I will put more in the chat that you can actually go to Slido and we can just start to get to know each other. Okay. Okay, you can go to slido.com. Just key in the code 2697752. You can go to slido.com or slide.do. Just key in the code 2697752. So my first questions will be, what's your background or your current work, so that I can know whether I will be going very fast or I'll be going very slow, or I depend on what's your background is, all right? So we have 18 participants today, 7 answered. So we have 29% are green building specialists. Okay. More. Let's have more participants so that I can know what's your background. I can actually tailor made how I'm gonna do these presentations, and if whether you are quick learner, you are slow learner, your background, or if you have any questions or anything that you want to ask, feel free to just unmute yourself. This is very interactive sections, right? So we have FM over here. Okay, green building specialist. Any more? So let's wait for a couple more. You can go to Slido or slide.do, slido.com. Anyone will do. Just key in 2697752. So for those just join, I hope you have your lunch, if not later on. So it's called lunch and learn sessions because lunch is on you, learning is on me today. We have 18 participants here. Or we can go to the next questions. Okay. So we have FM, we have green building specialists, we have engineers, architect, and we have from various background. Good, perfect. And let's move on to the next questions. What's your understanding on green building? So you can refresh the code or you can key in the code again as well. I need to know what's your understanding on green building so that I know how to tailor-make my presentations later on. Whether should I go a little bit deeper? Okay, I know the surface of green buildings. Okay, some know about LEED. Some use it before. Okay, I don't. Okay, so we have a mix of a group of people, but majority is you know the surface level of green building, right? Good. So the next questions, the last questions. What do you like to learn from today's sessions? So just key in a pointer form or just one things that you like to take away from today. So that instead of I'm sharing with you what I know, it's better for you to share with me what you want to know, right? Get a better understanding on LEED in Malaysia. Gain some more insight toward green building, how LEED is implemented in general. Okay. More knowledge about LEED application in Malaysia building. Okay.
Here.
What's the best way? Yes. So for those just joining, you wonder what are we doing? You can go to slido.com or Slido, key in the code 2697752. I'll put in the chat again. Okay, we are actually answering some of the questions for me to get to know more about who are in here today. So we are at our last questions. What do you want to learn from today? Prepare for LEED submissions, how to use ARC for LEED certification. Great, we'll cover that part later on. What's the best way to justify ROI for retrofit existing building using LEED principle? Okay, we'll go into that as well. Okay, one more participant is typing, so let's wait for that person. So I will go through that later on, but I'm not sure how deep should I go. If you have any question at all, just use the chat function, or you can unmute yourself, introduce yourself, just let me know what questions that you have. How to get existing building in Malaysia, get certified with green building certification in general. What should we do, LEED or any other green? What's the impact toward tenant, building owner if we were to do LEED O+M on existing building? Okay. What's the current trend of green certifications in Malaysia? Okay, good. So I might touch about your things that you want to learn, or I might not be touching on it, but do ping me or do put in the chat if you want to know more about those items, right? So because we have two group of people, one group you have a surface understanding on what is green building all about, and one group of people you actually have been using it. You have been applying. Either you are a professional practicing or you are the building owner. So you have your learning objective. I also have the things that my learning objective. Some are overlaps with you, but some might be some extra. If there's a time, I will go into that. If there's no time, feel free to email me, ping me, or whatever to know more about it. Okay, good. So I have a people just joining. No worry, newcomer. We are just about to start. If you can see my screen, just type in 3 in the chat so that I can know I can go ahead. Okay, good. Good, thanks, Nazmi. Okay, my first learning objective today is to discover the differences between LEED version 4 and version 4.1. Because for those of you that has been using some green building tool, you know that version 4 and 4.1 has a huge difference. So for today, we look into what is the differences and how can we actually know which one to be used and which one is better for us. So of course, I go into why building, why is this building, what's green building. That's my course outline over there. On the left-hand side, the second thing is to be aware of LEED version 4.1, and ARC platform can be good tool to benchmark existing buildings. Sometimes I would like to call it version 5 actually. Version 4.1 is okay, just because 4 and 4.1, there's a huge difference, right? Because in this line for so many years, we have been looking into the different tools again. For the new building tool wasn't big of the difference, but for existing building tool, that is where all the nitty-gritties, where there's all the detail makes a very huge difference, and I will explain why later on. And the third learning objective to explore ARC platform, like some of you wanted to know how this ARC platform work and how to start using it, or I would say, if you're not going for certification, it's fine first. So let's learn about how to benchmark the buildings, whether your buildings or the buildings that you're doing for others. And let's see what is the respective LEED scoring on that part, right? If there's a more time, I will go into the ARC platform on the detailing, how to key in and all this nitty-gritty. If there's a time, if there's no time, again, feel free to ping me after that. So again, I think most of us here are building professionals. I don't have to go into detail again. Why buildings? Obviously, 40% of our global energies are used on building. No doubt on that. 25% of global water are used on building. 40% of global resources are used on building. And the building itself has emitted approximately 1/3 of all the GHG emission. And that's the reason why the building itself offer greatest potential on achieving GHG emissions. And next we talk about ESG. Next we talk about scope 1, scope 2 of all the company, of all the MNC in the world. They will look into their assets, and primarily majority are green building. And I hope that answer that one of the things that you want to learn. One of you are actually saying that what is the way forward in terms of building. I would say there's no escape of it. In fact, a lot of MNC nowadays, when they're looking for asset that they want to invest in, or they want to place their people in, when they want to make their HQ, they're always looking for the either green building certifications, or it can help them in terms of either scope 1 or scope 2 ESG reporting. So, and the question is why we should focus on existing building. And again, just for myself and some of you building professionals, new building rather easy to do. For architects, for example, the new design, the new way of doing things, the new method, the new structure, shape, what's the active system, what's the passive system. Again, I understand it's very relatively easier compared to existing building. And why we should focus on existing building. So I just put a photo from Facebook here. Yep. So just let's have a very quick brain game together. Just try to guess which city is this. This is all in Southeast Asia. So for example, I would go 3 is obviously KL, right? So let's play some game over here. Just use the chat. So which city you think that is? 6 Ho Chi Minh. Yes. Are you from Ho Chi Minh? Yes, that is Ho Chi Minh. Yes. And anything else? Just a quick game over here. For Bangkok. 4 is, I don't think it's Bangkok, but Bangkok is certainly inside one of it. A good try, Darren. Yes, 5 is Bangkok. All right, thanks for playing along. And number 1 is, if you look at it, is Jakarta. Number 2, Singapore. Yes, Singapore, correct. Number 3 is KL. Number 4 is Philippines, Manila. Number 5 is Bangkok, and number 6 is Ho Chi Minh. And if you look, I think it's no-brainer. We all know that existing buildings are more than whatever new buildings that are coming out every single year. But the question is, how many buildings are in the world? This is the questions that I couldn't find in Google. If someone able to help me to find that out, that will be great. Just put in the chat how many exactly buildings in the world. But in Malaysia itself, the source from Property Guru here, there are 1 million commercial buildings in Malaysia in 2020. And we are looking at annual increment of 20,000 of commercial buildings per year. So the existing buildings are way, way more than whatever new buildings that's coming out every year. So there's a very big untapped potential there in terms of making the existing building either more efficient, more greens, or ultimately getting that green building certifications. So the question is the next, since we have so many buildings in the world, are able to pull out a European numbers, almost 300 millions of buildings in Europe. However, as fast moving as pioneer Europeans are in terms of the whole green or energy efficient buildings concern, they only have 25% of their building considered as efficient building, whereas 224 million, the rest of 75% of the buildings in Europe are not efficient and are not future-proof. This is sourced from World Economic Forum. And again, that's Europe, very forefront line, very fast. But Asia itself, we are accounts for 50% of global emissions. So for those you are in Asia, we have no excuse. Okay, GHG emissions or climate change are our business now. It's not in other people's backyard. So existing building. So before we look into existing building, because some of you, I think I don't have to go detail in what is LEED, and because I just now from the survey itself, most of you are aware what is green building tool about. Some of you has used it. Some of you know the surface level of green building tool. But a quick one for the benefit of those not sure yet. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy Environmental Design. Is a rating tool by US Green Building Council. So it has been established since the 90s, and it has transformed and been upgraded for many versions. And today, perhaps the focus will be on version 4, or rather version 4.1. Again, if you have any question, do just key in the chat. There's never a stupid question. It's only questions never been asked before, right? If you have any question, just use the chat or you can unmute yourself. So in terms of the rating system, for LEED itself, it has multiple differences in terms of rating system. Primary, there's only 5. And now I know some are saying that we have LEED City, we have LEED, even very much big scale, they are in develop right now. But the primary or the foundations of the rating system are these 5. The BD plus C for the new design, new building, ID plus C for the interior design, O plus M, that is where our focus will be today. Operation and maintenance, that is for existing building. And neighborhood development, that's for the larger master plan development. And there's a LEED homes. So this one is for the single homes, low-rise or the mid-rise multi-unit. I think Malaysia or Singapore or some of Southeast Asia, we are not into the multi-unit, but in US, I think a lot of multi-unit means in one block, there's many unit within it, like 4 or 5 unit within it. So that's LEED homes. So there's a LEED city. If you want to know more, of course, feel free to Google it later on. That is one of the interesting one, LEED city. So there's credit categories, used to be 5, but it has expanded into 9 over here, if you can look at it. So integrative design, location, transportation, material resources, water, energy, sustainable site, indoor environmental quality, innovation, and regional priority. So I will not go into detail on that one, but rather I will look into existing building, especially 4.1 today. So if you have any questions, feel free to stop me anytime or just put in the chat, right? I'm just afraid that I will go too fast. If I'm too fast, just let me know as well. So the question is, what are the challenges? Just now, some of you are saying existing building. You want to know what is the trend right now. So the trend right now, I can inform you because we in IEN Consultants, ever start of the COVID pandemic, our focus a lot are on existing building. And the reason I believe you kind of know why. Because during COVID, obviously every one of us are working from home. And obviously, after post-pandemic, or we are going into endemic, the demand for the office or the demand for the commercial building are getting less and less and less and less. So, and that's the reason why in the recent year, a lot of the building, either they're going for retrofitting, rebranding, or they're trying to get more tenant coming in. And that has proven in IEN here, we have quite numbers of projects in terms of existing building. They're doing rebranding, renovations, and that's where the green building certifications come in, right? So, but however, what are the challenges of getting existing building efficient, green, and certified? If you agree with me, just type in some of the things or 1, 2, 3 that you agree with me in the chat. So the number one is LEED version 4. For those of you that familiar with LEED version 4, it tend to too much focus on design-based credit. I'm talking about existing building certification. And it required a very high capex, a capital expenditure, and it need a longer time for implementation, right? For example, so if we were to achieve our indoor water reduction, we have to reduce or we have to change the flow rate of our water fitting, taps, for example, or even WC, for example. So because of that, we need a lot of retrofitting, changing tap, okay? And then for energy, for some of it, for example, energy-wise, you have to run an audit. You have to run a level 2 audit, and then you have to come up with what are the can do in terms of low cost, mid cost, or high cost. So for those of you are in FM, you must understand the pain of doing the audit. It needs months to come up with the audit, and then it needs months of convincing the managements to go for what are the implementation we can do. And just to meet that LEED point of, I don't know, these 3 points or 2 points of one of the credits requirement. And it took a very long time. And some of our past project that we're doing, LEED version 4, O plus M, it took us 3 years, 2+ years in order to get that building certified, right? So it took too long and it required CapEx and longer time to implement. Right? If this resonates with you, can you just type 1 in the chat? Just type 1 in the chat if this resonates with you on what's your project doing now, and you understand the LEED version 4 has that painful thing. Yes, Khadija understand. Okay, version 4, 2 years, 3 years to do it, and you need time and money. So the next challenges of getting the existing building certified is, yes, we got our building certified. But when we are being asked with these questions, are your buildings really that efficient? Really that efficient? We don't know, right? Because is BEI a good indicator? Is EUI a good indicator? What do you think? If you think BI, okay, for those of you might not sure what's BI, so let me just quickly explain what is BI. BI is basically building energy index, or sorry, building energy intensity. EUI stands for energy usage intensity. So it's intensity. So it's the usage of the building itself, kilowatt hour, divide by the GFA. A simple term of it lah. I understand in Malaysia BI, you might add in the WOH, the working hour. But in Singapore, for example, the EUI is a intensity number. How much you use divide by how big the area is. So the question is EUIBI a good indicator? For example, I give you an example. If the building are efficient in your opinion, however, when compared to other buildings, you are less efficient. But the key here is we are not looking into how many occupants are in there, right? For example, some buildings are super efficient, or I would say almost majority of buildings are efficient during the lockdown time, right? In Malaysia, we call it MCO. In other countries, you have a different name. But during the lockdown time, all the buildings are efficient because there's no occupant. And obviously, your BI, your EUI are getting good. So in the normal day, if my building, for example, my shopping mall, I take shopping mall, for example, has a lot of visitors compared to your mall that has not a lot of visitor, and obviously my mall has much higher heat load. And obviously my mall need to use more resources, water, for example. But can I say my mall is not efficient compared to your mall? That your mall doesn't have a lot of people, doesn't use a lot of water, doesn't have so much of heat load. No, right? Is not really a perfect indicator. It can be better. We can see some of the country that are using their BI or their UI, putting in occupancy lah, putting in the operation hour lah, putting all of this variable. And you know what? I think Khadija can agree with me. In hospital, different type of hospital, you just cannot use one indicator. You have to key in how many ICU bed you have. Are you a major or minor hospital? Are you a specialist or are you a state hospital? Yes, it's not really a good indicator in that sense. But again, in IEN, for some of my colleagues, there has been done a lot of study together with the Ministry of Health as well, getting all the data, come out with a baseline of a different type of hospital, comparing different type of ICU bed and so on and so forth. So that is one of the hell lot extensive study over there. And it's done by our collaborations with Unicity. And I can tell you it's complex. So if you have multiple buildings and the base case are so complex, my question is, how can you benchmark? How can you benchmark, right? So for this reason itself, I will introduce the ARC platform, where you can actually use this ARC platform to benchmark your building. I'll go into detail later on. So good. So next, move on for the third challenges that I can highlight here. Like one of the person just now was saying that, what are the true benefits in getting existing building certifications? Is the certification itself just a rara show? Okay, just big certifications on the wall. But what's the true benefits of it? Beside marketing, branding, and we know that's important as well. If you are trying to getting international tenant, you try to getting your building to occupy in the first place. Yes, that is important. But what's the true benefits in getting existing building certifications? And obviously, we all know the answer is to first to benchmark, to know that our building are really efficient. Second, through the tool itself, through the green building tool itself, we can save energy, we can save water, save resources using the tool. So the tool not only as a branding tool, but rather as a performance tool. And that's the reason why I'm introducing LEED version 4.1. But before that, LEED version O plus M version 4. Let's look at it, version 4. If you look at LEED version 4 existing building, this is the scorecard of it. I will not go into the detail of that. But what I can tell you is there's only 42 points are performance-based credit out of 110. So there's 38% are performance-based Whereas 62% are design-based, policy-based, strategy-based, which means even your building are now efficient. You think it's efficient. You believe it's efficient. You want to go for LEED version 4. I can only tell you the max you can score, my friend, is only 38%. Whereas 62%, my friend, that is where you need to talk to your management. You need to propose a policy. You need to propose a new design, new implementations, retrofits, millions, months of presenting, months of dialogue, because that 62% are strategy based. It's not right or wrong when LEED are first developed, or USGBC first developed this tool, they know that in order to get that result or that performance, we need to have the policy in place. We need to have the design in place. We need to have all the strategy in place in order to achieve the end result. So LEED version 4 is not good. It's just not perfect yet. And they realize that, okay, we have this in place already. Now let's introducing 4.1. Or sometimes I wish them to rather to use version 5. So version 4.1, if you can see here, from all of these credits, right? No matter how many points, 2 points, 3.1 points, it has reduced to this. So if you can see over here, 90%, 90 of the point are performance-based credits. And there's only 10% are design, policy, and strategy-based. So right now, if you are listening, you believe that your building are efficient. You believe that your building are able to achieve these certifications. The performance itself already can achieve it. So right now, good news is if you're using 4.1, 90% of the point, or 90% of the point, yes, because their denomination now are standardized, 100 point. Previously, they put 110, now they put 100 point. So 90% or 90 point you can achieve if you believe that your building are efficient now, if you're going for 4.1. Right? So another 10% are the design, the policy, and all the strategy-based credit. So that's a huge difference between 4.1 and between version 4, right, for existing building. So far, so good. If I can go ahead, just type 1 in the chat so that I know that I'm not talking too fast. You can follow. Great, thank you. Okay, good. So since...
Suwan,
yes.
Sorry, Brandon here. Just a quick question. I noticed you mentioned 90% performance based for version 4.1 O&M, right?
Yes.
Would like to clarify with you, performance based versus strategy based points. Which one would be easier to achieve if, let's say, in the context of the building itself, it's performing moderately in terms of energy consumption and other stuff?
Okay, thanks, Brandon, for that questions. So for performance based or whichever is better for your building, right? That's depend on your building. So for example, if that building are fairly old building, but you know their performance are on bar, you know that their performance, that they are performing very good. Either their FM are doing a very, very good job, or they've been doing some of the retrofitting right now. Okay. However, if you are wanted to go for version 4, there's some of the design base credit that you have to do. So for example, just now I'm saying the water retrofit, you have to change your tap, you have to change all these things because there are a strategy based credit, which means I want your tap to be less than 2 liters per minute. But you know that you are actually performing, but you just don't want to spend those money to do the retrofit. You just don't want to spend the money or resources just to do that retrofit. However, if your building are very new, you know that you are actually with your existing building, whatever thing that you have installed, the aircon system, the water system, you know that by strategy based, you actually can meeting all these requirements. Then I would say you can look into version 4. Okay, because in terms of strategy wise, you already are meeting it. Okay, just the 38%, that's where you have to prove your performance base. But however, there's one thing as well I will clarify later on in terms of energy on that one. I hope that answer your questions, Brandon. It's really depend on your building itself.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, so 90% of performance base. So version 4.1. Okay, version 4.1, what happened is they introduced, when I say there is the USGBC introduced together with GBCI, introduced an ARC platform. So this ARC platform is a new platform, or not that new, 2017 is almost 5 years past or 6 years past. So this platform is what does it do? This is where it used to benchmark your building performance. So you can go to the ARC website later on. If I have time later on, I will quickly demonstrate how you actually use this ARC platform to benchmark your building. Second, to see where you stand against LEED version 4.1 certification. So ARC platform, the idea of ARC platform is to measure your green building performance. And it has, again, the scoring 1 to 100 as well. So now they have 5 categories within the ARC platform. They have the energy, there has the water, there's the waste, transportations, and human experience. So in terms of the point scoring, the weightage, you can see over here, 33 energy, 15 water, waste, 8 point, transportation, 14 point, and human experience, 20 point. So later I will demonstrate to you on how to kickstart of using the ARC platform. First, you enter the data, and then they will come up with a visualized score for you. And from that data that you key in, they will come up with the scoring. So the first score, the energy score, of course, the main chunk of the score, 33 point. So what you need to do is you have to provide 12 months of whole building energy use. You key in all the 12 months, and then it come out with a score for you. And then it will compare with historical score, local score, and global average. Okay, now this is where the USGBC and the GBCI developed the ARC platform for. This is to develop the platform for you to benchmark your buildings against local average and global average. In version 4 itself, for those of you who have done version 4 building with us, I think you understand that your building can score brilliantly 20 points for version 4 in Energy Star. However, does it fair? Because in Energy Star in version 4, it compare with US building, US data. Because Energy Star itself are from US. So most of their data are in the US. And you know that it's not fair if you compare your building with US. Why? Because US has heating energy. In Malaysia or in this part of the Southeast Asia, we do not have heating energy, right? So for version 4.1, this is where they compare with their local average and global average. And you might ask me, where do they get their local average data from? So the global average data, obviously they have it. USGBC have the data in China, in India, they have all this data in different countries. However, the local data is where they lack of right now. Right, but I can tell you how they actually work out their local data. Okay, so what did they use is they use a global data, and then if they have a local data, they will compare to each other and what is the percentage reduction from the global data to the local data, and they use that percentage apply to all the local data first. Of course, is it perfect? It's not perfect. They're looking for improvement. Of course, they're looking for improvement. So that is why LEED are pushing it on version 4.1 certification for existing building. That's where they can actually make the platform better as well as to get more data. So if they have very much local data itself, that you can actually benchmark to the local data more accurately, right? I will show you later on. They do have their local average right now, but I would say it can be better. Of course, it can be better moving forward on. So again, for the ARC platform, not only they tell you what is your performance, again, local average, global average, they also tell you what's your performance in terms of emission, where you can actually use this data to as a starting point, as a prelim for whatever GHG reporting you want to do or whatever ESG reporting that you want to do, right? So you can see here the score is based on emission per capita and unit area, right? So they are looking at emission per capita, no longer they are looking at the kilowatt hour. So from that on, you know that it is the better benchmark right now. So again, it's the same for water, but however, water, they are not using emission because it's very hard to justify in terms of water usage. Again, the GHG emissions, they're using consumption per capita and per unit area. So if you ask me, do they have the numbers of consumption per capita in each country? Yes, they have. Is the data perfect? No, like of course can be better over the time. But again, the water, same, you have to provide 12 months of your water usage, then they come up with a score, and then you compare with local and global average, right? So they are no longer a strategy based, just like a liter per minute, all these strategy in place, how people use the water. Now they want to see what is the actual number of your water consumption. Same thing for the waste as well. How they come up with the score for waste is they are using a weight generated and diverted per capita, which means how many are actually diverted per capita. So they do have the number, how many diversions per capita as well. Okay, so no longer just a 75%, 50% of waste have to be diverted. Now they know that Malaysia, I'm not sure about your country, but Malaysia itself, our waste recycle rate are 15 to 20% max best. So they know that. So depend on your number itself, it compared to your a local average data. So transportations, yes, transportations, how they give you point for transportation is the distance travel is converted into carbon emissions via mode of transportations. So I'll show you later on. I hope I have time. How's the survey done? Or a quick one. The survey done is you generate a link, then send to your building occupant. Then your building occupant will key in how do they travel every day. Do they travel by bus? Do they travel by LRT, by work, or by car? And what's the distance travel? And from that number, they can calculate what is the emissions. So it will convert into the carbon emissions. So of course, the lower the emissions, the better score that you have for transportations. Lastly, the human experience. So human experience is where, same thing as the transportations, you are generating a link to your building occupant, ask them to enter the survey, how good they feel about the building itself. Is it thermally comfort? Is it visually comfort? So they have a score for that one. Because if you can see from LEED version 4, that's where our strategy in place, right? Daylight or the CO2 sensor in place, all that are strategy-based credits. But now, because all these strategy are for what? It's for the human experience. So now they're not looking into that anymore, although some prerequisites are looking at it as well, the minimum fresh air requirement, all that are still in place. But now they want you to do two things. One is to get the survey. Second thing is to conduct an air quality sampling. So you need to do a sampling of your CO2 and your total volatile organic compound concentration, CO2 level as well as the VOC level. And then you key in those into the ARC, and then it will generate a score for you. So of course, the higher occupant satisfactions and better the indoor air quality result, lower CO2, lower VOC concentration can get you a high score. So that's a 5 category on that. So I will not go into the timeline of this one. Maybe I'll use a couple more minutes to show you how's the ARC platform look like. And yep, I will go into this one. But before that, any questions, feel free to just type in the chat or unmute yourself. No, Now I'll go into just a very quick demonstrations on what's the ARC platform look like. So this ARC platform, you can go to the website and you need to have an account first, just create an account. So for this webinar purposes, I've created one project over here. Of course, I wanted to create more, but again, very last minute preparations. So I created one project. This is the actual data from this mall. I wouldn't say which mall is that. I just name it mall A. So I key in the energy of it and I key in the water of it. So energy wise, if you are on the free version, I'm sorry, you cannot select which date. If you have the energy, for example, for 2020, I would suggest you to just key in that as per the last year, because if you have a paid account, of course, you can opt for the paid account that you can actually select which year is that. So to create this project, again, you need to key in the your square feet lah, your working operation lah, your how many occupant. Again, the number of occupant important, because it actually in their system itself, the number of occupant do have that calculation into the score. So don't ask me how complex they are, especially this base case, because that's the things that I want to study as well. So after this meeting, I would like to invite those of you that are actually interested to study more. I will create a study group where we actually going into how to study all these things. Yes. So for this one, you can see you can select either LEED performance score or LEED point. So for LEED point, obviously very simple. You can score 24 point out of 33 point, right? So this is where you key in your data. So you have your energy data. This is how you key in every month. Then you have your water data as well. This is where you key in every month. And again, you can select, you want to view it as a performance score or a LEED score. So in this case, I know I key in already. Then I know how many points. Width, I have not keyed in yet. Transport, I have not done the survey. Human experience has not done the survey yet. So just water, same thing. Which month to which month? What is the consumption in here is the cubic meter. So from that itself, it can show you the overview of the water. Take note that you need to key in the full year's data in order to see what is your scoring on that particular time if you wanted to go for certification. So for example, for LEED point, I only achieved 3 points, which means I'm so far away from my global average and my local average. But in terms of energy, I'm able to score 24 points out of 30 points in LEED itself. So I'm better than global average, and I'm even better than local average, right? So that is that's how you use the ARC platform. And again, very much linked to the LEED online as well. If you wanted to go for LEED certification, click here. It will bring you to LEED online, and then you go for your certifications, right? So I think that's all for a very quick demonstrations how this ARC platform work. And again, these ARC platforms are free to use. Feel free to use it. You can create a lot of your project itself. Then you can actually benchmark which has a better score, which has a lower score. Yeah, usually I would like to use a LEED point view, so I know actually what's the score look like. So if I think I will, right now it's 1 p.m. at my time. Maybe I just open up a couple of minutes for any questions. No questions? Fantastic. Okay, so thanks again for joining in for this webinar. I hope maybe just to sum up everything of what we have learned today, the version 4 and version 4.1 differences, and why I think that the ARC platform and version 4.1 is a very good tool for you to start to benchmark your building. If you don't want to go through the complex process to find out the baseline, or you think that BI or the EUI wasn't a good indicator for you, feel free to use the ARC platform. It's free. Don't have to register LEED project or whatnot. It's free. ARC platform, just go there, let's create your project and key in and to see. And from there on, if you are looking for these certifications, the points are there already. So, and the baseline itself, how LEED USGBC established, again, I have explained it, the global average, the local average. And lastly, again, existing building is one of the main point or the main big untapped market right now, because there's so many existing building out there already. So I encourage you look into that. Either you are a developer, either you are a consultant specialist, FM. This is where the untapped market are, right? So with that, what is your next actions? I would need some feedback from you. There's a link in the chat, so you can just key that link in, and I will also send 1 hour of USGBC CE hour to you. And your next actions, I open up a study group if you wanted to join a study group, or I also put you into our IEN training mail list if you want to know. Probably in future, I might arrange a longer hour training, probably half a day or 2 days. And yep, no worries, Stefan. Okay, the link will be up on our IEN TV, but do give me your feedback on the form itself, right? Do give me the feedback on the form itself. So either you are interested on our future training, join my study group, or you just want a CE hour. So just help me to key in that form. And of course, your feedback are very much appreciated. What you like about today's webinar and what can be better. So with that, thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining in. So I'll be ending the meeting in 3, 2. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.